Good morning. Today I'm going to share my favorites from 2019. And the categories where I don't have a favorite, I'll just tell you what stood out most in my memory as I was going through my makeup collection and the things that I grabbed for the most often. I'm going to start with in the order that I would do a face. The first thing is primer. This year I used primers, and when I wasn't using a primer, I was using a moisturizer or skincare underneath my foundation. My favorite primer this year was the Tatcha. If I had an occasion when I wanted a flawless foundation, I would reach for the Tatcha. It smells good. It was a pleasant product to use all around. It smells good. It only takes a very small amount. It feels good. And my makeup stayed flawless all day long over the top of the Tatcha silk it's called the Silk Canvas. And that's how much I use. And that's pretty good considering it shows that I used it pretty often. Considering how many primers I have, and shows that I used this one a good bit this year in 2019. When I wasn't using a primer underneath my foundation, I was using skincare. And this is what I reached for the most often. It's the Naya 24. It's Pro Niacin Powered Skincare. I think I started grabbing for this. Maybe it was when I was putting some self-tanner on my face and I had some dry areas, and to combat that so my foundation wouldn't look dry and cakey, I tried this one day purely by chance, and I really liked the way it felt, the way the foundation laid over the top, and the fact that the foundation didn't break up, that it didn't work against my look. So I reached for this Naya 24 often this year. I like a lot of foundations, but I believe I reached for this one the most often, and I used it up this year, and I found myself struggling to get more out of it. This is the Too Faced Born This Way in the color Warm Nude. I used this foundation a lot of times this year, and I probably will repurchase it. The reason I like the Too Faced foundation in Born This Way is it gives you a flawless look. It seems to conceal any imperfections. I believe it has it says it's a perfection foundation, and I think it does perfect. It has a satin finish, and it covers without looking cakey, and it lasts all day, which is, I think it meets all the criteria that I desire in a foundation. So the Too Faced Born This Way foundation would be my favorite foundation I used this year. My favorite eyeshadow primer, you probably can guess because I named it over and over and over again, is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away. It gave me a nice clean canvas. It didn't dry down too dry and make my lids look crepey, yet it didn't stay too sticky. My shadows performed pretty, any shadow that I used performed nicely over the top, blended well. It doesn't grab the shadow, yet it holds it there all day long, and shadows stay true to color over the top. I was very confident in reaching for the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away every day to demonstrate new eyeshadow palettes. About halfway through the year, I received this Tom Ford Kohl Intense in the color Onyyx, and I think Pat gave it to me, and I think his intention was for me to make a wing out of this because he likes a nice wing and he likes black liner. But what I found that this liner worked best for was my TIGHTLINE, and I used it over and over again on the TIGHTLINE. It's a true black. It stays on the TIGHTLINE. It only transfers the slightest amount and it stays all day. I really like the Tom Ford Kohl Intense in the color Onyyx for my TIGHTLINE, and it's my favorite of 2019. My favorite mascara of 2019, I would say there was a tie. It's between the Chanel Le Volume Revolution and the Tarte Big Ego. As I look back on the video, the day-to-day get ready with me or makeup of the day videos that I did in the car, I named Chanel Le Volume Revolution over and over again as my mascara. It was a great mascara, and I used it up to the very last. And also this one, the Big Ego. I prefer a mascara that builds quickly, and it's okay if it gets a little clumpy because I always comb through my lashes. But both of these mascaras, I think, give a lot of drama. The Chanel Le Volume Revolution and the Tarte Big Ego. For brows this year, I used the 24-Hour Brow Setter by Benefit over and over again. I think it was the strongest clear brow gel for holding my brows in place. And I like to, I also like drama. I like to brush my brows up, and I like them to stay that way. My brows tend to grow down, therefore I like a really strong brow gel to keep my brows standing up and give that feathery look and not have to worry about them moving as the day progresses. Towards the end of the year, I discovered that the Lush Karma soap, it's a glycerin soap, worked well for soap brows. It also adds even more drama than the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. If you wet your brush, your spoolie, and rub it on the bar and comb your brows where you want them, they'll stay. And it adds a little bit of shine. So that would be my runner-up brow setter of 2019 is the Lush Karma soap. My favorite under eye concealer this year, probably this is 3 years running, is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the color Brightener. I have 99.9% of the time, this is what I wear underneath my eyes, and I've used up and repurchased several times during 2019. Favorite under eye concealer, Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the color Brightener. While I'm discussing under eye concealer, I'll talk about my new favorite concealer brush that I discovered in 2019. It's the F64 from Sigma. It looks too big for a concealer brush, but it's a soft blend concealer brush. And I don't do any pinpoint concealing. Mainly my concealer is to brighten underneath my eyes. It's to brighten, it's to highlight. I guess I have a little bit of shadowing underneath my eyes, but mostly my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind is to brighten under my eyes. So I put a wide swath of the Instant Age Rewind underneath my eyes, down my nose. And this is the soft blend concealer, and it's very soft, and it does diffuse the edges of that concealer without wiping it off. Sigma F64 concealer brush. Soft blend concealer is my new favorite concealer brush this year. While I'm on brushes, this was an interesting discovery for me this year. It's the 3D HD Kabuki brush by Sigma. It's beveled. It's soft and velvety. And during the summer, I demonstrated this brush over and over again, how it worked, how you can blend your foundation right up to the edge of your brows, right up to the edge of your contouring around your lips. You can do corrections by outlining around your lips, and where it comes to a point at the top where you have a straight edge, you can get into crevices around your nose. So my favorite foundation brush of 2019 is the Sigma 3D HD Kabuki. My favorite lip conditioner this year is first of all, it was the Charlotte Tilbury, and I used it all up and it's gone now. It was the Collagen Lip Bath. That was my favorite one at the beginning of the year, and I used it every night, and I kept it on my bedside table. When that got used up, my next one favorite is this one, and it is the Lip Volumizer by La Mer. I like a lip product that you don't have to dip your finger into. So the beginning of the year was the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Bath, and the second half of the year is the La Mer The Lip Volumizer. My favorite makeup sponge that's not the Beauty Blender is the Tarte. And I'll put the exact name right here. It's got Quickie in the name. This was my favorite beauty sponge of 2019 that was not the Beauty Blender. It's dried out. It's dry now. It's not wet. When it's wet, it floofs up really, really soft. It's really squishy. It's very, very good tool. I enjoyed using the Tarte makeup sponge this year. My favorite lash serum this year. Earlier in the year, I bought the Eyelash, and I used it faithfully over and over. And obviously I wasn't noticing a big enough change in my eyelashes, so I purchased a new product. And I bought the Rodan and Fields. The official name is Rodan and Fields Enhancements Lash Boost. And it comes in a cylinder like this. So I still had a little bit of the Eyelash left, but I wanted to try this. So I used the Eyelash one night and this the next night. and I still wasn't noticing any change. And then I decided to use the Eyelash in my brows and this in my lashes. And when I started using this every night on clean lashes, that's when I finally noticed a change in my lashes and that they were getting longer. So Rodan and Fields wins my vote for the best lash serum of 2019. I don't use lip pencils very often. I just don't. I use them on my brides. I use them in my kit, but I just don't use them on myself very often. But a rediscovery late in the year is the Stone Lip Pencil by MAC. I'm guessing that I like a cool colored liner, and this is truly a contour color. This Stone by MAC. That would be my favorite lip pencil of 2019, and you'll see it on into 2020. Back to eyelashes again. My favorite trick I learned this year was taking an angled eye brush. This one is probably an angled brow brush. It's a random brand. It's less expensive. It's not one of my nicer angled brushes. But my favorite trick I learned this year was taking an angled brush and putting mascara on it so that I can paint my bottom lashes. And I like the angled brush better than the Lash, the mascara brush or lash brush that's a little tiny fan that is designed for that. I prefer this. I feel like I can get in there better to paint those bottom lashes and those little baby inside lashes. That's a favorite trick I learned this year, was painting my lashes with an angled brush. My favorite contour this year, maybe 2 or 3 years running, it was the Laura Mercier Ritual. And I did use it quite a bit in 2019. But during the year, I discovered the Fenty Beauty Cocoa Naughty. And I used this over and over again as a bronzer slash contour. It lasts all day. It goes on smooth. My favorite brow pencil of the year, and it's surprising too because usually I feel like the more you spend, the better it is. But in this case, it's not true. The NYX, in this one in particular, the micro brow pencil, and the color is brunette. It's MBP06 brunette. This is, and I think I've lost the lids for both the pencil end and the spoolie end. This is my favorite brow pencil of the year, is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. Back to the lips again. I base my favorite lip products on the ones that I feel like I need to have in my purse that I enjoy pulling out and using over and over, versus the ones that are in here that I pull out just for a look. This one I used quite a bit this year. It is the Too Faced Sunset Crush. It's pink and iridescent. It's pleasant. I think it has a little bit of plumping in it. It's pretty for all over, and it's pretty if you just want to use it to highlight your pout. So Too Faced Sunset Crush I used a bunch this year, and I carried it in my purse a lot because I enjoyed wearing it, refreshing my lip during the day with it. Another one that gets an honorable mention, especially because it lasts a long time and it feels good and it smells good, is the Tom Ford lip gloss. And this one is in the color Impulse. It's number 13, and I carried this one in my purse a lot this year. I can't name a lipstick that I preferred this year. I would probably venture to say that I'm a lip gloss girl, and that would be why I can't name a lipstick. I was fortunate enough to be able to try a bunch of new lipsticks this year, and I enjoyed most of them. I can't think of any off the top of my head that were a complete fail. My favorite powder this year was the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. I almost used up a whole one, and it does do what it claims to do. It does make a flawless finish. I enjoyed using this year, and I appreciated when I went back and edited my videos and I had used this, how flawless it made my skin look. This does do what it claims, and I discovered this year, and I enjoyed using it, and I do have a backup. So favorite powder or favorite powder discovery of 2019 is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. I have purchased and demoed several new blushes this year, one of which was the Mykonos. But I would also have to admit that I am not a peach girl. I am a pink girl when it comes to blush. And this one, I feel, gives me the most bang for my buck. I always like the way it looks when I've used it. And it is the Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic Swish and Pop in Love is the Drug. A lot of what I named this in this video may come as a surprise because you haven't heard me mention it that many times during the year. But that's because I'm always trying to pull out something different to show you. But I do love this one, and that's what I have on today. Another one. This is one that I heard mentioned over and over in other videos. And when I got it and used it, I had an aha moment and realized why it was such a popular highlight. And it's the Jouer Skinny Dip. Very, very luminescent. It only takes a tiny bit and you get quite a bang. So my favorite highlight discovery this year was the Jouer Skinny Dip. That doesn't help, does it? The Jouer Skinny Dip. While we're on highlights and sparkles, this year I enjoyed bringing my makeup look down on my chest, and my favorite sparkle to add to my chest was from the Kat Von D Fetish. It's officially called Fetish Blush Plus Highlighter Palette. And I enjoyed, mainly when I applied it sparingly, using the warmer tones. The purple not so much, but the Magic and Rose Shock. Anyway, the orange one and the pink one mostly. To add a little sparkle to my chest. Even for every day. I enjoyed. And then sometimes I would hit up here too to add sparkle to whatever highlight I used. So my favorite body sparkle was from the Kat Von D Fetish Blush and Highlight Kit. So a complete surprise to me this year was the Sigma sent me their Warm Neutrals palette. And so I did demos of that because Sigma made me an affiliate this year. And they sent me the Warm Neutrals palette, Volume 2. And I tried to use it over and over this year, showing you different looks, trying to encourage you to purchase it for your makeup collection. And in an effort to convince you, I convinced myself. This is a great palette. The colors have good pigment. It's long wearing, very wearable. You can create warm looks and cooler looks. I thoroughly enjoyed my looks that I was surprised over and over again with the outcome when I created looks with this. And sometimes I created looks and didn't tell you what it was I had on to see if maybe you were prejudiced against it just because it was Sigma and you knew I was trying to sell you on it. So my favorite, and because it was a pleasant surprise and a new discovery this year, was the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2 Shadow Palette. So I love fragrance. I have received and purchased a handful of fragrances this year. And the one that stands out the most, well, actually there's two. The Oddity, it was, let's see, I ordered a sample of it, or a travel size of the Oddity, and I liked it so much I ordered a big one, or the full size one. And then I got a sampler of their full range, and that's by Rag & Bone, and many, I'd say 5 of them became temporary favorites, but they were all pleasant, the ones in the sampler. But what outshines it all this year for 2019 is the Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. Standout fragrance of the year for me was the Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. There's a lot of words in that. Fabulous fragrance. Very naughty of Lourdes to send this to me, this travel size, because now I'm not sure I can face life without it. That's about all I collected up here on my vanity to share with you. These are the not all include, doesn't include, hair products for 2019. I probably used this every time I styled my hair this year. It is the Redken Frizz Dismiss Instant Deflate. I have curly frizzy hair. Let's see if I have any frizzy spots. I don't. I use this every time I blow dry my hair. So that is definitely a favorite. And I cannot do without it. I have to have that. Have to have that product. Also, a new discovery this year is the Kevin Murphy Do-Over. It's a combination, this is what they call it, Do-Over, dry powder, finishing hairspray. And I enjoy this for my height that I like to put right here, the teasing I like to do in my bump on the crown of my head, right here. Love this. That was also very naughty of my hairstylist to introduce this to me, because it is a bit pricey, but I don't think I can do without it, and I enjoy having this in my kit for doing my updos. The other product by Kevin Murphy that I discovered this year is this one, and it's called Bedroom Hair. It's a flexible texturizing hairspray, and I like to use it in the front when I want my bangs to hold together. It smells really good. I would say this is like a hairspray with a dibby dab of wax in it. Love this product. All right, thank you. I had fun reviewing my 2019 favorites, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And leave in the comments something that was your favorite that you discovered new in 2019. And also let me know if you have any questions for any categories that I left out. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Ta-ta.